Hi, welcome to Social Research Insights. The mission of Social Research Insights is to promote open source software for both academic and corporate research needs. We have a lot of content on YouTube channel, and the content is absolutely free, and however the effort is not free. So we'd like to make you a small request that kindly promote our content in your respective professional circles. So we are always available for workshops, seminars, or maybe conferences for short speeches or maybe guest lectures. And you can also invite us maybe for some short-term or long-term training programs for your staff and also other research community. This is one of the video presentations which belongs to my series of presentations on how to program in Linux shell, or how to write the Linux shell scripts. In my previous video, I've explained how to make the for loop, but whereas I taught you how to make the for loop in as in the style of open source community, just like okay, first let us go into the code, and from there I can explain you what I'm exactly intended to. Let me see my present working directory. I think I'm not in my directory or folder, my shell scripts. Now let me go to the sudo nano for loop, give my password. Okay, so this is actually the way of this is our last. Let me delete everything. This is our code. If you observe, this is actually the code which we used in order to create a random vector as well as a linear data vector. I mean a linear data vector and also a random vector. We also gave some name to our random data vector. We used a special function, a bash function known as random, to create the random data points. In order to create a random data vector, if you replace this function with I, just simple I, then we'll be having a linear data vector. Okay, all those things I explained in my previous video cast, and in this video cast I'm going to show you how to use the same loop function but in a different style. So if you observe this statement, I used exactly the way most of the open source programming tools programmers do like to use through their open source programming tools. I don't know, I'm R programmer. In R, what happens whenever I use, we have the habit of using the for loop as it was shown in this program, just like for I in 1 to 10, something like that. But most of us, we are very much familiar with a different style of using for loop. If you remember, I don't know if you are into the programming, at least some minimum skill or minimum awareness level of using the conditions and loops in some other programming language, you do remember that we usually use 3 arguments or parameters. We supply 3 different parameters to the for loop. I don't know, maybe few people call it as C programming style. I don't know exactly it is C programming or what programming it is. First let me comment my block. We have a wonderful mechanism to comment a particular block of the code with this way. So you just have to give underscore is equal to and inverted comma, and end of the block you again have to supply the inverted comma, so that the entire block of the program will not be available for execution. So now here I will write it about the way I am trying to explain you. For, and we have a style of usually we give 3 different parameters. I think if you are a C programmer, then in C we have a style of writing the first statement in this way: I is equal to 0, then I less than or equal to maybe 5, and then I plus plus. I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but then do something here, echo maybe this is 1 2 3 4 something like that. So let me close my here. I think I forgot this. I don't know whether it is correct or not, but let me. So this way, when we supply these parameters, the very first argument of the parameter which goes to the for loop is the initialization. This, when we assign 0 to I, we are initializing this particular variable I to a value known as 0. So we are telling the for loop that start from 0 and increase that variable until I is less than or equal to 5. So that we'll be having 5 statements in our output. So first let me save this and see whether I can ls. Yes, we have the sufficient privileges to execute this file. /for. Yes, thank a lot to God for giving me the output, because it was so we executed the program. If you observe the output, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5, something like that. And let us go back to the code. Here in the code we have, as I said, we have the three. We supplied the 3 parameters. First one is the initialization, second one is the condition, third one is the iteration. And if you observe, the mode of iteration is known as increment, because we are increasing this particular parameter or maybe the variable by supplying plus plus, isn't it? This is called the iteration of the type increment. And there is another type of iteration that is called decrement. So here, if we supply minus minus after I in the third place as one of the parameters to the for loop, then we are telling the Linux terminal to decrease the value of I, and that way we want the bash to execute the for loop. But whereas here, don't forget to keep the maximum value, otherwise it will not work for you. Okay, you can also keep I is equal to 0, but it will get into the minus value. However, there is a small problem in this code. So if I execute this code, I'm sure that I'm going to end up with infinite loop, where my loop will not end and continue forever and ever. And this is due to the way we have given the parameters to this for loop. If you observe, we want this loop to be executed for all the values of I, taking from 5 to anything less than 5. So that way what is going to happen, that this becomes a never ending loop, which is, in other words, I can say it as an infinite loop. I don't know, I told in my previous video, I explained that there are two types of loops, finite loop and infinite loop. This is actually the second category, which is known as infinite loop. Let us say, get out of this program and let us execute. So this will continue on and on. So let me close first, because I'm worried about my RAM size, and the bash will fill up all numbers, and I'm worried about the memory. So let us go back to the code. Now what are we going to do? So somehow we have to stop this loop. It cannot continue like that. But however, that is, the infinite loops are very, very important as far as the Internet of Things are concerned. I simulate a lot of data by using the infinite loops, but for time being we cannot. For this example, infinite loops are not the case. But so I'm going to create a small if condition. If the I is equal to and this equal to is actually the relational operator. So there are different types of operators in Linux bash as shell script programming. Like we have the boolean operators and the relational operators, conditional operators, or maybe some sort of arithmetic operators. So there are a lot of data available online. You can, if I put dash eq, I'm simply trying to compare the LHS with the RHS, and my RHS is going to be 0. So the condition goes like this: if the I turns out to be 0, then break. Okay, then stop the if condition. I don't know, let me say, because I do a lot of mistakes, and say get out of the editor, now go back. Yeah, exactly, thank God I'm able to. So this is 5 4. As I said, we start with the value 5 because the maximum value is 5, and then we decrease. So here, as I said, the iteration, the mode of iteration is decrease or decrement. It is not increment. So I have explained you two types of for loops. One is the finite loop, the other is the infinite loop, and I explained finite loop with the help of 3 parameters: initiation or initialization, condition, and iteration. So there are 2 cases. I explained 2 cases for iteration, that is increment and decrement. So this way we can just make some fun through Linux bash by learning and also verifying the code as this. Okay, so programming in bash is really fun and also very easy. Any beginner can start writing the programs by using the Linux shell, Linux bash. Okay, thanks for watching my video, and if you like this video, please press like, subscribe to my video channel, stay tuned for the new content. Thank you.